This is VSiN by the Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We begin hour number 3. VSiN by the Books. Dave Ross here, downtown Las Vegas at Circus Sports. He is the man in black. Jensen Lewis, our closer today, back home in Cleveland, Ohio. And Jensen, always love catching up with the great Lou Finocchario. Kind enough to join us here on a Thursday. Joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. Give him a follow as I do at GamLou. And the host of the About Business podcast. Fantastic listen, by the way. If you haven't, you need to do so. Lou, we normally like to talk to you on Friday because I know how much you are into the weigh-ins. Before we break down these fights, you've already got releases that you have out there on the About Business podcast. How much might it change from what we evaluate today before you see these men and women on the scale tomorrow?
Well, Dave and Jensen, thanks so much for having me in. That's really a great initial question, Dave, and it could change diametrically. There's a fight we'll talk about that I wrote up on digital that I'm having some second thoughts about after talking to other fight enthusiasts that I trust. So I'm going to approach it a little bit differently. But I really do my best to take any fight that could have any implications on Friday morning, meaning weigh-ins, and not release those until after weigh-ins. I've saved myself and made myself so much by waiting, and the About Business podcast comes out after weigh-ins because it's a gambling profit podcast. I'm not looking for hits. I ain't giving away coffee cups. I don't know how to do any of that. And sometimes when you watch the About Business podcast, you wonder if I can handicap fights. But that's really what we try and do, and weigh-ins are foundational.
Lou, we have Murphy and Emmett as the main event here, and again, a couple of older fighters, if you will, 33 and 40 respectively. Murphy rocked a couple occasions in the UFC here, but hard to see maybe Emmett getting a victory here. Your thoughts on where this main event looks like?
Yeah, this main event looks fascinating to me. Emmett is coming off a complete annihilation in his last fight, then took a lot of time off. In interviews, he said he was fighting at 35% in previous fights. He sounded energized. He looked energized. He gave me every clear indication that at 40 years old, he knows this is his last opportunity for a run. He's the higher ranked man, a huge underdog. He carries profuse power, went 3 full rounds with Topuria. Yeah, he got the break speed off of him, but he's tough. He's not going anywhere. And his opponent is an opponent that has a body type that can give him trouble. Long, tall. Emmett toiled against Yair Rodriguez. Murphy's not quite that long and tall, but he fights that way. He'll need distance. He'll want to completely touch up Emmett. I don't think Murphy has the power to get rid of Emmett. And I know Emmett has the power to get rid of Murphy, but does he have the speed to catch up with him? I think his window is short. He has a couple of rounds. But I do lean Emmett here. I think the price is completely disrespectful to a guy who knows it's his last run, even though he's a little older and he has a tendency to slow in some of these fights. He's durable. And he's got that power. I think he's going to find a way to catch up to Murphy.
I'm with you on that, too. Emmett is plus 250 right here in that main event. And the under right now, 4.5. It is juiced heavily to the over, minus $1.88, over 4.5. So maybe that correlated play. If you like the Murphy side, you look to a decision prop for Murphy. Because I'm with you. If Emmett gets it done, you would think that under would be in play at plus $1.45 and maybe look to that KO prop here on the dog. But I think he's very live as well. I don't know how live Pat Sabatini is going to be in the co-main event against Joe Anderson Brito. I'm a big Brito backer here, Lou. I think he's got multiple ways potentially to get Sabatini out. But Sabatini's got that one trick, and it's really good, wrestling and grappling. Can he get the Brazilian down? And right now he's a plus $1.90 dog in this potential 3-round matchup and control Brito on the ground. How do you see that co-main playing out?
Early in the week, I was just giddy that Brito opened at 395 or 4, and he was at 205 when I released him. Since my research, since my article is in and I've done more research, I'm getting very scared of Sabatini. I like Brito coming off a loss where he didn't lose. He lost the decision. I don't think he lost the fight. He comes in hot. He comes in angry. He comes in with profuse power. And then when I look at the line on this fight, Brito minus 230, over under 1.5, but more importantly, points. Sabatini plus 7.5, plus 100. What they're basically painting a picture here is that Brito is going to annihilate Sabatini, and he has the capability to do that because Sabatini has a balsa wood beak. If you sneeze on him, he's out. The opposite of that, however, is that he's an absolute world-class wrestler, grappler, and if he attacks Brito early, when they're dry and gets on top, it could be Sabatini. So Brito's got to keep this up and standing. Sabatini has to make this a slow dance at the high school prom or he's going to get blistered. Early in the week, I was all Brito, but I'm getting a little nervous, and I haven't released anything in this fight, but 7.5 points in a 3-round fight, that doesn't seem right to me. There could be some way where we play Brito somehow and come back plus that 7.5. Should it go to decision, or should the grappler from Philly happen to get a submission?
Lou, in baseball terms, we're always intrigued when you get a pitcher that's promoted to the big leagues, makes his big league debut, and is a more touted guy or maybe flies under the radar. Where do we put a Chan Ho Lee here? I know he's a road to the UFC winner, a guy that I guess technically he's 1-0 because that first fight was on a UFC card, but still relatively new here. How do you handicap his particular matchup on this card?
Yeah, he's in against a guy that when you look at him, he's just chiseled out of marble, but he can get all swole up after time and slow down a little bit. This is not a fight I'll be using, but I think Romeus, his opponent, Lee's opponent, is there for a reason. And I think this fight's, I don't want to say it's set up, but I think this is a very winnable fight for Lee. And at his price, minus 125, that's where I would lean here. You bet.
I see it the same way, gentlemen. Sometimes you look at why promotions make fights, and I think Lee at that price point feels like something we want to hop on. Lou, we've got an affinity. I know you and I through the years have talked about it for some of these elder statesmen in the UFC. We've got a matchup here, Brad Tavares against GM3 and Gerald Meerschaert. And, Meerschaert, we know the game plan, right? Just get the fight down to the ground, and he's going to look to submit you. And we know Brad wants to make this ugly, maybe avoid the clinch, keep some range, and let the hands do the talking here. For these two old war horses that are in there, who do we think is going to get the hand raise here? Is it going to be Brad one more time or GM3 with a submission?
Dave, this fight is fascinating to me because there's surely paths to eat for each man to win. I mean, Meerkat, unless you stomp him out quickly, he hangs around and finds a way. And Tavares, durable as he can be, I think he's been in the UFC 18 years or something, cagey veteran. I can see it going either side here. Here's what I'll say. Which man is the dog? Because that's who I'll take. Had Tavares come the dog, I'd be talking Tavares. Since it's Meerkat, I'm going to use Meerkat here a little bit. I don't see problems on the scale with these veteran professionals. And I think that Meerkat's got the size to eventually try and latch on to an arm or leg, get Tavares down where Meerschaert will have the advantage.
Plus $1.80 here on GM3, Jensen, so not a bad price point there. Let me ask you about one other in the big boys here with Marty. Martin Budai is going to be back in there against Kennedy Nchukwu, and Kennedy has got all the size advantages you would think. Now, Martin can be tough, but I don't know how durable he's going to be if he's getting sniped from the outside. Do you look to Kennedy by KO in this situation? Because if Martin can't make this thing ugly and get inside, Lou, I think that range is going to be a real problem.
Yeah, this is a tough fight for me. Boudet is statuesque and inactive. And as a heavyweight, that's hard to beat. His last fight, he got a split decision win over Arlovsky that I don't know that he landed 12 punches. The decisions surprised me. Boudet's lack of activity scares me. And yet when we look at the other side of Boudet and we got Kennedy, you just keep waiting for the lightning to hit Kennedy. He's got it all: size, length, reach. He's massive, but he's so inconsistent. I don't know if up here he's really a violent fighter or not. I'm going to sidestep this one. I would lean to Kennedy here just because he's a new heavyweight and he's probably carrying the weight better than sucking himself so dry at light heavyweight. Maybe he was compromised there.
Yeah, it seems to be. Jensen, you got one more for the upset dog of the day?
No, but real quickly, the calendar has turned to April, Lou, which means we are 2 months from the middle of America. College baseball, we get 8 of the top 10 teams from the SEC. We got any futures more in pocket?
Jensen, at the beginning of the year, I'll be honest, and I shared this with a couple of my handicapper friends in Vegas. I have 10 futures. 5 are SEC, 3 are ACC, Oregon State, and Oregon. And those are to win the College World Series because, in my opinion, those are the only teams that can win it. Now, can other teams, can a Dallas Baptist, can a Connecticut, a UConn, Cal Irvine, can they make it there? Yeah, Grand Canyon you have to handicap to see who can make the College World Series. But when 6 of the 8 teams in the College World Series are going to be ACC and SEC, why would you go fish in other waters?
Lou, you're the best. Check it out. You got to check out the at Gamblou on X and the About Business podcast, and also the Sneak Teep, Jensen. He gives those picks out early in the week, so catch up with Sweet Lou there. We are back with more in a moment.
You're tuned in to VSiN by the Books, right here on VSiN.
Always a lot of fun catching up with Lou Finocchario in the last segment. We're going to have Will Hill join us here a little bit later on here in hour number 3 from the great state of Connecticut. But, Jensen, I have a quick question for you from Mom, who's watching, Mom, Dad back home in Virginia Beach. You're a Cleveland guy, of course. Mom is Martins Ferry, Ohio. Do you know Martins Ferry at all?
Boy, it's been a minute. Yeah, I haven't been through there in a while, but big fan through Vermilion. Obviously, for those that are tuning in this area, know Sandusky, Ohio, home of the greatest roller coaster park, Cedar Point. So, yeah, I'm going to have to break out the map and see how far away we are down here in Broadview Heights.
Not too far away from Wheeling, West Virginia, where I used to go visit my grandmother as a kid on Wheeling Island. So you can walk across to Martins Ferry, Ohio, West Virginia. You're right there.
Down by the casino too. Yeah, I went down there last summer. Yeah, I think I was down there. Okay. Yeah,
of course you knew the casino there at Wheeling Island. Of course we did. By the way, if you're not great at betting every sport, we understand. It's hard to be great at betting every sport, but Rhythm is going to help you out with that because the best bettors use data to get ahead. So why not use AI to help workshop you through this March and April, of course. Rhythm is an app. It's going to help you build personalized betting models, not just for March Madness, but analyze trends and make sharper picks for every single game and every single sport. Whether you're a seasoned bettor looking for an edge, Rhythm has got you covered with AI-backed projections and insights. Start your free 7-day trial today by downloading the app or visiting rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com. Without further ado, it's a light slate today, but let's get to it. It's time for the Daily Diamond. Jensen, I think we're already spoiled with the beginning of Major League Baseball season. We're so used to having 8, 9, 10, 14 games on Monday. We only have 5 today, but that did not deter you from a great would you rather in today's Daily Diamond.
Yeah, all right. So we've got a couple of futures. We got some leans for the afternoon slate today. So the first one, pretty clear. If you want to jump in on the futures market, a Cubs-Padres parlay just to make the playoffs. Mentioned about San Diego. Picked them as my final wild card team. The way the Cubs have started, the offense has convinced me early on. I get it. They played in Sacramento. But want to offer this to people. If you don't have any shares of these two teams, it's a fun little almost 2-to-1 payout for Cubs Padres to make the playoffs.
I'm looking at the Cubs, too. You can get them plus money right now to win the division. Now, I know they got off to the slow start, obviously, overseas in Japan against the Dodgers, but they've rebounded nicely with 3 straight wins in Oakland. Is that, or excuse me, in Sacramento? Is that the only pathway for the Cubs to potentially win the division in that parlay that pays $1.91, or do you think they're still viable for a wild card?
I think they could absolutely be viable there. 5-4. If you look at the way too early wild card standings, they're just a half game back of Arizona for the final spot. So again, it's one of those where you're just looking at pricing and how volatile these early markets can be, because people will jump in, or you have teams that are off to slower starts. But I would say where the Cubs are positioned right now, before they even play a home game, and especially the way the Padres have looked thus far at home too, great spot to jump in. And
again, San Diego, this 7-0 starter, this is not a mirage, right? This is a legit baseball team, even though, you can make the case the Guardians right now not playing their best baseball. But you sweep the Braves and you sweep Cleveland. That's still a great way to start off the year.
Oh, no doubt. And I think we'll find out a lot more. As I mentioned, home opener for the Cubs at Wrigley tomorrow with Padres. The offense is going and humming the way they are. And if the wind is blowing out, be ready, bleacher creatures, because there's going to be some incoming for sure.
Let's continue your Thursday leans here on the Daily Diamond. And maybe one, I'm going to go to the Northeast here, and maybe New York City and Philadelphia. What do you have your eye on here?
Yeah, obviously you're looking at Philly, and this price has gone up since last night, and even just checking the latest numbers right now, Philly up to minus $2.30. So again, a lot of the money coming in on them. So good little parlay piece here. Yankees get kind of torched these first couple of games from a pitching standpoint in the first couple of games against Arizona here. However, take the run line, parlay that for a nice little plus money piece. My former teammate, Cookie Carrasco, on the hill, makes his Yankee debut in the regular season. Plus 131, I believe, was the price last night for that potential payout.
You're backing two former Metropolitans here. Taijuan Walker's on the bump here for the Phils against the Rockies.
Indeed.
Right? And then you got Cookie Carrasco going here. So I'm picking up what you're putting down there. By the way, Yankees got roughed up the last couple of days against Arizona. So, again, you're going to lean to them today. What'd you make of that? Is that just Arizona's pretty darn good, too?
The both offenses, I think you could see some offense today. You don't have the swing and miss from Carlos Carrasco that you had in years past. And so I think that number's at 10. Speaking of 10s, hey, we'll see those in Sacramento pretty soon. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind if you want to lean to the over on Diamondbacks and Yankees as well.
And that's $1.08 right now. The over is $1.08. If you want to back that under, it's $1.12. But I'm with you. I'd want no part of that under today in the boogie down. What do you have for us for Jarren Duran? He's super talented. You watch him play, and again, that talent kind of oozes. What do you like here for Boston against Baltimore?
Yeah, good career numbers against today's starter, Charlie Morton, 3 for 7 of the homer, 2 runs batted in. I'll take him for 2 total bases. Not an official play, but a good lean. Starting to get into that point now. You're a week into the regular season. Guys that have seen particular pitchers before from an offensive standpoint. Sometimes to jumpstart an offense, that's all you need is a guy that you've really seen well before. Jarren Duran's a good one. I'll also throw out Nick Castellanos at home against the Rockies. Mentioned that day game. Antonio Senzatella, he's been a pinata for Nick Castellanos. 4 for 7 with a double and a homer, 5 runs batted in. Multiple ways to attack Nick Castellanos today, but I'll go again in that 2 total basis, give you multiple opportunities to do some damage.
The Sox got a nice win yesterday, 3-0 behind Garrett Crochet, and we saw Devers break out, finally get a couple hits there. But my bigger question is, when Devers hits, which you know he's going to hit, and I know you're playing Jarren Duran today with that 2 or more total bases, how potent top to bottom can this lineup be?
Oh, my God, ridiculous. Just thinking of how Alex Cora wants to deploy it, it'll be some iteration of Duran, Devers, and Bregman in those top 3 spots. And then if Tristan Casas starts to put it together, I wonder how quickly Christian Campbell may move up in the lineup, or if Alex Cora likes the length there and the damage that Campbell's already done in a short amount of time at the bottom of that lineup.
Something we were talking about a lot leading up to Major League Baseball this season has so far come to fruition, and that's out there in Sacramento. Do we keep just betting this until the breaks come off?
I mean, it's a blind over, just auto bet it. And I'll be honest, Dave, you look at the upcoming schedule here for the Athletics, and when they come back home, here's what they're going to face. The San Diego Padres, that offense has been really good.
Oh, boy.
It's just a quick 3-game trip to Colorado, by the way. And so you come back home, you face San Diego, and then you face your New York Metropolitans.
Woo.
I'm telling you, man, how the pitching is lined up here. You could have Severino on Monday, April 7th, Springs on the 8th, and then perhaps Beto gets a start in there before JP Sears and Estes go on Friday and Saturday in those first two games against the Mets. I'm telling you, man, I don't know how high they're going to have to go, but I agree with Mike Palm. I think Derek Stevens was on it. You're going to get into Coors Field territory much sooner than I think people even realize.
So when do we start the buyback? Because at some point that's going to happen. When does the resistance come that we go, we got to start playing the unders now that they've adjusted, the numbers have been adjusted from 8.5. Is it going to be 11.5s, 12s? Like, I still might be leery of hopping in on those unders.
I wonder, and I'm looking just more down their home schedule here, that next homestand after the upcoming one, you have the Rangers, which will still be very high totals, and then the White Sox. And depending on where the White Sox offense is, that might be our first one of regression, just because Chicago doesn't have the thump that those previous three teams certainly do.
And one more very quickly. We mentioned Houston and the Twins with Mike Palm here in hour number 2. Kind of look to the Stros today with Hunter Brown on the bump here in that weird kind of time slot with Minnesota with that early start.
Tell you what, this is why you're a VSiN Pro subscriber, because the money has actually shifted a little bit. And I actually think you go with the Twins now. And if you want to jump on the run line, you're going to get a nice payout here for the Minnesota Twins. So I wouldn't be surprised. And again, just a lean here, but seeing how this money has moved, it looks like a sharp move here to Minnesota. Again, short favorite at minus $1.25, but you get a nice plus money payout for that run line as well.
Plus $1.70 on the run line if you want to back the Win Twins to win today. Great stuff as always on the day with Dave and Jensen. Let's get to our summer special. It is upon us here at VSiN. Of course, we got you covered. Augusta is next week. Can't wait for that. The NFL Draft, Major League Baseball in full swing, NBA, NHL playoffs, and the Kentucky Derby. So VSiN Pro got you covered all summer long for just $59. When you sign up today, you're going to get expert picks, including all of our best bets from the Masters. We're going to be talking a lot of Masters throughout the week. Next week, of course, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access on our VSiN Watch app, plus the Derby, Kentucky Derby betting guide, and the NFL betting guide. Those are coming out as well. The NFL betting guide coming out this summer. So it's going to set you up all summer long through August 1st. It's just $59 at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. The King of Connecticut, Will Hill, is next on VSiN by the Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN by the Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back. It is VSiN by the Books. Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis here on a Thursday morning. We always love catching up with our guy, Will Hill. You can follow him on X as I do at Not The Will Hill. Joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. It's kind of like that oxymoron. It's not the Will Hill, but it is Will Hill. But it is the King of Connecticut. Will Hill joining us now, the host of the Should Have Bet More podcast. Will, we asked you during the break there, you're not betting as much golf this year. Well, why not?
I'll give you the answer, a different version, a cleaned up version of what I said off the air. I never bleeping win. It's hard to win. I would love to see, and look, Wes Reynolds does a great job with this. Long shots, those guys do a tremendous job. But when you're shopping in these 30, 40, 50 to 1 range, which usually with golf, you're going for these longer payouts, it's just hard, man, to win long term. I remember when I first started doing this, it was really, look, I've been betting sports for a while. When I first started betting golf, though, COVID, when it was the first sport back, 2020, just because it was the only thing back. And I had beginner's luck, I guess, because I hit 3 or 4 within a couple months months span. It was, in a lot of ways, the worst thing for me because you're chasing that feeling. You think you're good at it, where it's hard. It's hard. You can have a really good handicap of a golfer and you finish second or third and, no dice. So I think the matchups are more beatable if you really have an edge. But like you guys know, it's hard to get these things home. When they get home, they're pretty sweet and you get a nice payout. But I don't know, it's just it's been a long time since I hit an outright. Not that I play them every week, but it's been a dry spell for me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, speaking of matchups, Will, we are on the precipice here of getting the Final Four underway on Saturday night. We've seen a little bit a downturn, or at least a tick down in the total in the Florida and Auburn game. No real movement on the spread or anything. Let's start there. I've said to Dave, I think a lot of this predicated on, will Janai Broome show us that he is as close to 100% healthy or anywhere near that effective in the first 5 to 10 minutes of that game? I think we get a window into that. As we move forward here, where do you stand now for this first game of that Final Four Saturday night?
I like Florida. I know they've played, 4 games in the tournament. They could have easily, should have lost 2 of them. And then even the 116 game against Norfolk State, they got outscored the final 25 minutes of that game. So perhaps you could look at that both ways and say they're not playing well, you should fade them. I think they're sitting on a big-time performance here. Their one really good game, their best game of the tournament was Maryland a week ago in the Sweet 16. That's when Golden and Florida had a week to prep, so maybe there's something to they're not as good on short rest, short prep. I thought Hurley really kind of undressed them with his all their off-ball movement. They got a lot of open looks. They were just a shot or two away from putting that game away. They just couldn't do it. Look, it's a situation where I go back to I think it was February 8th game, the day before the Super Bowl. They played in Auburn, and Florida won the game, and they won it convincingly. I just think both teams have some matchup advantages here. I think this is a high total. It's a high total for a reason. I just think Florida has a little more. I think they still haven't played their A game. Even against Maryland, they turned the ball over a lot. And to me, the tiebreaker is Broome. I mean, how do we know he's 100%? And if he's not, that's just a major, major edge for Florida, who they still have everything. They've got. They can shoot. They're deep. They're big. They've really got a little bit of everything. And like you said, we're not going to know about Broome until a few minutes in, and maybe it's a situation where he looks fine. He's 90%, and then he re-aggravates it or something during the game. Maybe he's 100%. It's just something. It's really, really hard to know. But I'm going to go with Florida. I just think they have more ways to win, and I think it's a free roll with Broome, where if he's not hurt, you've got a really good bet with Florida, and if he's 100%, then it's probably a fair number at 2.5.
Yeah, he was 100% on that game you're referencing back in February, and Florida went in there and smacked him around and won by 9 quite easily down there in Auburn. So I'm with you on that. And I know you haven't spent a ton of time in Virginia Beach because you said Norfolk State. You didn't say Norfolk. Norfolk. Well, that's the way the locals say it. Norfolk down there in Virginia Beach.
Noted.
Let's get to the other game here, Houston and Duke. And depending on where you shop, it's 5 here at Circa behind me. DraftKings still has a 5.5 out there if you're looking to the side of the Cougs here. But what do you see? Because the total is coming down now, gentlemen. It's down to 135.5. It was as high as, 137 earlier in the week. I think that total, you can look at the correlated play. Like, Houston can't win a shootout, right? Well, if they're going to win or cover that number, you got to lean to the under if you look to the Coug side.
I think that's a sharp angle. I think you're learning, Dave. I think Jensen's teaching you a lot here. You're catching on. You're picking up what he's putting down. No, you're right. The old saying is upsets don't happen in the 70s or 80s. They happen in the 60s. Houston has to make this a rock fight, a half-court game, a slow-it-down game, and just steal a 62-60 game. Hopefully get some officials that let you basically play football out there and they don't call every touch foul. That would benefit Houston, which is something to keep an eye on from a live betting perspective, how they're officiating this game. And look, these teams played in the Sweet 16 last year, and it was an ugly half-court, slow, low-scoring game. I don't take a lot from that because Houston was beat up, and this is a whole new Duke team. I do think the pace and the style will probably be somewhat similar, so I would certainly look towards an under here. If anything, I still like Duke. I know people have made good points that this line shouldn't be 5. It's inflated based on the numbers, maybe. And I think it's inflated maybe a couple things. Duke, their brand name, the fact that all these favorites have done well. And look, I think people are starting to get flashbacks of the last couple tournaments where Duke is feeling like UConn of last year and UConn of 2 years ago, where it sounds dumb to say. It really doesn't matter what the number is because you say, oh, this number is inflated against UConn. UConn Purdue shouldn't be 7.5, and UConn blows them out of the water. UConn Illinois shouldn't be, I think it was 9. UConn wins by 1 million. It's feeling that way with Duke, where do you really want to lay minus 110 to step in front of this Duke train? It's 5. It's not that many points. And from a matchup perspective, I think Duke has the length and athleticism on defense to disrupt Houston, who is more of a jump shooting team now. We saw how Alabama's offense was really thrown off by Duke's length and athleticism. And then on offense, they've got Flag. They've got the best player. They got a ton of weapons. They're just a really deep, really good team. And that 5 looks expensive, but this is how it goes with these Duke games and the UConn games the last couple of years. These numbers look expensive. It looks too high. Then the game starts. You say, man, I'm on the wrong side of this one. So I don't know. Duke wins by 7 or 8 or so. I think Duke wins this game and covers.
Will, let's shift to Major League Baseball. Shorter slate today. One of the great instant gratification markets in all of sports is, as Mike Palm affectionately calls it, the Yerfy Nerfy, the yes run in the first inning or the no run in the first inning. You've got 2 identified here, and I love both spots considering what the starting pitching matchups entail. Let's start in Philadelphia. Antonio Senzatella against Taijuan Walker there this afternoon.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate towards the Nerfy just because, I don't know, I'm a pitching guy. I'm someone who's pitching college. I always root for the pitchers. I like to identify the good pitchers and go for the Nerfy. So when something jumps out to me as a Yerfy, it just kind of jumps off the page of, I look at it like I want no part of these 2 guys. Taijuan Walker, let's put it kindly, former Met great. He has seen better days. His numbers in spring training are awful. He's throwing in, like, for all these guys that throw 99, he's throwing in the upper 80s, low 90s. His stuff is really, really hittable. Then Senzatella with the Rockies is extremely hittable too. Plus, you get all of the thunder at the top of the lineup with Philly, a smaller ballpark where all it takes is one swing and boom, it's 1-0. So this is one where I like the Yerfy. I like to fade both pitchers. I like the Philly lineup, and I think you get a Yerfy here. Shop for the best price. I don't have the number in front of me. Usually, probably going to be with a total of 9.5. The Yerfy's going to be favored here, -130, -135. I'm okay with the Yerfy, though. I think you get one early.
Met Taijuan Walker out in Chicago years ago. Nice guy, not a great pitcher.
Of course. Who haven't you met, Dave? Who have you not met? Just tell us when there's someone you haven't met.
Maybe yes. By the way, the yes on the first run, run in the first inning for the Rockies and the Phillies, -$1.35. And then the Reds Brewers for yes run in the first inning is even money. So not bad.
Should I start worrying, gentlemen, about the Reds? Because this is back-to-back 1-0 losses. Will knows how much of an affinity I have for this team. And we're wasting great pitching performances the last 2 days because they can't score runs. At least they're on the road. Maybe that'll help them today, Will.
They seem allergic to winning, just in general, the last couple of years. They just find ways. You always talk about, this team finds ways to win games. They find ways to lose games. It's still early, but I would be a little bit concerned. But I do like the Yerfy in this one. I looked at FanDuel. You can get +108, and I'll throw in a bonus play. The Reds to hit a home run in the first inning is +600. Nestor Cortez out there, he looked awful the first outing. Gave up 5 homers, gave up 4 in the first inning, 3 in the first 3 pitches. So if you're giving me +600 on the Reds here to go deep in the first inning, and plus money for a Yerfy, that's for either team. I'm gonna take both of those.
Pretty good. Very quickly, only have about a minute to go. Yankees, your level now. You win 3, then you lose a couple. Where are we in the Yankees right now?
Breaking news: it's a long season. So everyone, putting them in the World Series after the first 3 games was a little overboard. I think they're going to be about what we thought they were. If Judge stays healthy, they're probably like a 90 or so win team. Good team, not a great team, but they're one of these teams, and you say that about a lot of these teams. You get in the playoffs, and with the format of the playoffs, who knows? I don't love their pitching. We'll see about the lineup. To me, their long-term success in terms of the regular season is going to come down to if Judge can stay healthy. But a flawed team for sure. Speaking
of knowing everybody, there should have been more podcasts. What superstars are you have already booked coming up?
It's a great question. Wednesday, we had the great Todd Wishnev. Monday, the Bear, Chris Felica. And on Friday, it will be Kev O'Neill from the Oddsbreakers. So exciting time of the year. It's good to have baseball back. Masters around the corner, so fun time of the year. Yeah, but I had drinks with Taijuan Walker back in the day. As an advantage push. All-star Taijuan Walker. Well, you're the best. We appreciate your time as always, my friend. All right, see you guys. Thanks. We are coming back and to give out our best bets. That is next here on VSiN by the Books.
VSiN by the Books, right here on VSiN.
We continue VSiN by the Books. Dave, Ross, Jensen. It was a lot of fun this hour having Lou Finocchario, Will Hill join us as well. We always appreciate all the texts, tweets, whatever we may get as the show goes on. We got one from Jamie Levia who says this on X in regards to Gamblue. He said, I'd love a Gamblue coffee mug. Because you remember Lou Finocchario said, man, I don't give out mugs on my podcast. None of that. It's just about picking winners. And Jamie goes on to say he'd love a Gamblu coffee mug. He would use the term balsa woodbeak going forward as well. Excellent segment as always, gentlemen. Have a fantastic day. We wish you a fantastic day as well. How about we get Lou Finocchario into the merch game? Do you think we can do that? I'd buy a mug from Lou, a coffee mug.
Yeah. Boy, we should get, speaking of merch, we got to get a Lewis Ross administration buy the book shirt made.
Or a coffee mug. Put that right on the set. Can we do that?
Yeah, I think we can get that done. Get some commercials going as well. I mean, let's monetize this thing. Let's go.
Let's get out there and sell. That's Trading Places for people who might not remember that. Classic from Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Let's get to our best bets. They're brought to us by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. And again, only 5 games on the docket today here, Jensen. But after our conversations here in the Daily Diamond, after talking with Will Hill in the last segment as well, anything that we might find actionable? I know you're looking at that Twins game today and maybe where the money's coming in, it might lead you to the way of the Win Twins?
I think so. I'm going to wait for some other lineups to come, but that is screaming to me right now just from the differential, I should say. 39% of the bet, 69% of the handle. A little bit of an earlier start there as well. But I think that would probably be in a short favorite too. So kind of like where the potential payout could be. If you're looking for other things right now that jumps off, I'm going to side with Will Hill. I think the Reds, if you want to play another value run line, I think that would be a way to go. And I do think we see some offense here for the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. Over 10 is a lean for me as well. So those are the picks that stand out. As always, for VSiN Pro subscribers, I will be adding throughout the day. I did add a hockey play. They've been a cash cow for me on the puck line. Let's go Vegas Golden Knights, -1.5 at +195. Just do think that this is a gettable spot for them against Winnipeg. 20% of the bets, Dave. 79% of the handle.
Ooh.
Come on home for me, VGK. Let's do it again. Let's light the lamp early and often.
Again, we talked about it with the torpedo bats yesterday. You can't handle the truth on kind of baseball, some issues we've had with Rob Manfred. Some of them are legit. I think some are fabricated. What about the scheduling today when you have these 5 games only this early in the season, when you do feel like, I know you can't play every day. You got to have days off in baseball. But, man, you do kind of have all of the sporting eyeballs on you. Is this a secondary getaway day today that we're seeing on a Thursday?
Well, yeah, you've got to, again, in these first couple of weeks, Dave, you have those East Coast teams that started on the West Coast that will be coming home for their home openers. So, again, you're thinking the Chicago Cubs, great example, that will be tomorrow afternoon, hosting the San Diego Padres. Also looking at the New York Mets, who will be hosting the Blue Jays. They're coming up from down south. You also get, let's see, who else is out there too? The Nationals, I know we're at home against the Phillies, but they'll be coming back after playing the Blue Jays. The Dodgers will also be coming east. They will be playing the Phillies. You talk about a series you want to circle right away. How about Yoshi Yamamoto against Jesus Luzardo? And then, of course, our winless Braves. Hey, hang in there, Wyatt Tomchek, long season. The Braves get their home opener under the lights tomorrow against the Miami Marlins. Love to see where the full slates are on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, of course. So, yeah, a lot of these teams getting their initial home openers, but we will see a much fuller slate moving forward here in the coming weeks.
The lone remaining winless team in all of Major League Baseball, it is the Atlanta Braves. What number could you have had on that for the last team to get a win being Atlanta? I don't know who would have had the foresight for that. There's still only plus $1.80 to win that division. So, again, we talked about it off the top of the show here. You can't win the division in April. You can lose it, as the saying goes. But you don't think this is too far down the primrose path here where they can't recover?
I think they can. I honestly, I want to see them at full strength. I want them to get Strider and Acuna. Sean Murphy is on the mend already in some rehab games. So I want to see them as close to 100% or at least with their stars back. Remember last year, Dave, this is an Atlanta Braves team that was decimated throughout the year, still found their way into that final day of the season against your Mets, having to play that weird doubleheader, man. Just so many implications of who won that first game and other teams having to watch to see, rooting for one team and then another in the second game. So way too early in my book to write off the Atlanta Braves.
All right, and the 2 undefeated teams that we have still in the NL West are the Dodgers and the Padres. 8-0, 7-0 respectively, and the Giants only one loss, and the D-backs off to a good start as well. Look at these numbers very quickly in the West, updated. The Dodgers, undefeated, minus 575 to win the division. Padres, undefeated, plus 850 to win the division. D-backs right there, 10-1. And the Giants with only one loss, and we thought they could be an intriguing team this year, 22-1. Is there staying power for the other three? Or in the end, 6-1 or minus 575? I'm not laying it, but I guess I can understand why others would.
Well, already the most notable move there is that Padres division future down from double digits to plus 850. And again, when you think about an ability to have things in pocket, diversifying your portfolio, if you think the Giants, and I was actually watching a little bit of Mark DeRosa talk about that club, they're kind of sneaky when you think about it. They're going to pitch. They're much better offensively with Willy Adames up there. Elliot Ramos has had an extra base hit, at least one in all 5 of their first contests here to start the season. I mean, more so, I don't think they would run down the Dodgers. But, man, if you want to throw a little 30-1 in your portfolio just to have the potential hedge, like let's say they find their way into the wild card round, you would think that they probably play a National League Central Division winner or, the top wild card team. And that essentially, I mean, we'll workshop it. They could play the Padres in that best of 3 wild card series. And who knows? I mean, Logan Webb, Justin Verlander, Robbie Ray, you've got Jordan Hicks, and then they're pretty serviceable in the back of the bullpen. I'm very anxious to see what the addition of Willy Adames does, not only from a lineup perspective, Dave, but also he was such an emotional leader for the Milwaukee Brewers in his tenure. And so I think he brings that energy and that enthusiasm that will really light up that Giants offense day to day.
It's just amazing if you're the Padres and you're 7-0 and you're still almost 9-1 long shots to win your division. I mean, that's the power of the Dodgers right now at 8-0 in that first to 10. If you've got the Dodgers, you never thought you'd be sweating it out at 8-0, but that's how good the Padres are playing at this juncture. By the way, G-Bank is up in the ante, up to a $750 bonus here for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. New customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days of opening up an account, they're going to get a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 or more on gaming and sports app loads within the first 30 days of opening up that account, you're going to get another $500 bonus. That's potentially $750 right then and there. So apply now at VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions do apply. I do want to get a quick update here on the Valero Texas Open that's going on here. And get ready to get excited, Jensen Lewis. Chan Kim, he's the rabbit. 3 under par, solo first through 5 holes. It's early, but you have him on one of your plays this week?
I have him in a guillotine league. We do a little 6-man DFS lineup. Each week, he was, again, and I'll just even bring it up because this is going to be fun. You're going to laugh. So, for those that play DraftKings, you have to have that $50,000 or less in salary.
Right.
And so right now, my lineup, Dave, is the Big Sweet, Ludwig. I have Finau. I have Siwoo Kim. I have Mav McNeely, Chan Kim, and I have Takumi Kanaya. Kanaya, I think I said it, whatever. I said it wrong. But either way, Chan Kim was my dart throw in there to save some salary. I love where he's at right now. This is awesome.
That's how you win those things. That's how you win those guillotine leagues, because you're going to get the guy that you're spending maybe the least amount of money on, and he's the leader right now through 5 holes at 3 under par. So they don't ask how. They're just going to ask how many at the end of the week. So far, 3 birdies on the card there. Again, Ludwig has not teed off yet. The big guns haven't teed off to the afternoon. He's still the favorite here at 12-1 to win this thing. And we'll find out, of course, Corey Connors, who's won this event a couple times. He and Tommy Fleetwood and Jordan Spieth all short on the board with Hideki Matsuyama. I'm sure they'll be sneaking in some of that conversation as the afternoon goes. After us right here, of course, the numbers game is coming up next with Gil Alexander and Kelly Bidwin. Money moves after that at noon. And then prop points here at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Of course, all these times are Eastern. Jensen, Enjoy it, my friend. We'll be back for a big Friday show tomorrow as well. Some more golf talk, UFC, Final Four, Major League Baseball. We'll have it all for you tomorrow right here on VSiN by the Books.